Hi everybody, we are Mike and Brenda Baker, and today's topic is 3 strategies to make your remarriage last. All right, hun.
Okay, so 3 strategies. So this video should be a little more fun and blunt.
And quick.
Yeah. So first one is communication. All right. It's amazing to me how many men and women still don't communicate very well.
Yeah.
And why is it? It's because they never take the time to learn how the other one needs communication. We've talked in several videos about the 5 love languages, which help communication. If you want to understand your spouse, there's several personality tests out there. My 2 personal favorites are the flagpage.com and the Briggs-Myers test on, I believe it's 16personalities.com.
Yeah.
And that helps a lot too. But communication, you've got to actively be involved in communication. You can't just spew stupid all over your spouse, okay? You can't just say, hey, this is how it is, all right? You've got to talk back and forth.
And you also can't wait until you're angry. That's not going to help you.
Yeah, that's not communication. That's arguing, okay? And contrary to popular belief and what might happen in your home, argument is not communication.
No.
All right. So, I mean, I'm not saying don't disagree even. We have areas even right now where we very much disagree.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't agree to disagree, because I hate that term. Why? What that means is that's a cop-out, okay? It's okay for both of us to be right, and it's okay for both of us to be wrong. And the fact that I am my own individual person and she is her own individual person, and the things that we believe respectively, and the things that we determine are convictions of our own need to be convictions for us. And we just need to agree that we can have different opinions on it or different convictions on it.
Well, and I think one of the ways that we are able to do that is we both seek to understand, rather than to just teach our spouse, teach each other what they need to know.
Yeah.
And it really helps the cause when you come into talking about a situation that you don't agree with your spouse on. It really helps you guys to just really kind of take away the emotion and be able to hear.
Yeah, really, most of the time when we're if I'm not communicating something to where I feel she understands it, really, I'm not looking for her to agree with me. And I've told her that many times. Look, I don't need you to agree. I just need you to understand what I'm saying, where I'm coming from, and why I'm saying it. Okay, just so that you can get that, okay, this is why you think, I don't agree with it, but this is why you think what you think, and I understand where you came to that from where you started.
Yeah. And if I will take the time to actually listen, I find out way faster, and it's a way easier conversation if I'll just do that. And that's really been a helpful tool for us.
And communication, when you're actually communicating, and we are talking about talking, okay? You really need to take the time with your spouse every day to sit down and have only talk time, okay, with just them. Not kids, not anybody else. Talk time with just them.
No phones.
No phones. That's why we suggest couch time, and we suggest that you let the kids see you doing it. We also strongly suggest that when the kids want to interrupt, which they will try to do, you push those kids politely aside. Nope, this is mommy and daddy time, and you don't let them interrupt.
And we're not saying hours on end. We're saying 15, 20, 30 minutes of your day can be spent just with the 2 of you. The kids will live.
Yeah.
If someone's bleeding, that's different, but typically the kids want you to think that they're bleeding so that they can be involved. But they really need to see you in your main, most important role in the family as husband and wife.
The key there is C, too. Most of you are going to think, oh, well, we'll just do that when the kids go to bed. I didn't say that. I said do it when the kids are awake. Let them see you do it, and let them see you actively push them away, because remember, the primary relationship in the household is mom and dad. The primary relationship in the household is husband and wife, not mom and dad.
Right.
Mom and dad is second. Did you hear that? Second to the husband and wife relationship.
And it's important because if you guys are good as a couple, you're going to be good as a mom and dad, because you're on the same page. And so that really kind of goes into the next situation, which I'd like to be the first to talk about. Sex. Ladies, the reason that your husband doesn't want to talk to you is you're not having enough sex. That's it.
Short and sweet, yeah. So I guess I'll throw in on that.
Please
All right,
do.
so this is one of the biggest. This is probably one of the single biggest problems. I liken it to a chair. Okay, now there are two ways you can build a chair. You've heard me say this. There are two ways you can build a chair. Okay, now you can build a chair with wooden screws or wood screws and glue. Okay, now if you build a chair with wooden screws, then you've built a chair from Walmart. If you build a chair with wood screws and glue, you've bought a professionally made chair. Now, why do I say it? What's the difference here? Okay, too many people treat their relationship, their marriages, like it's just a chair made out of wooden screws, and eventually that loosens up. Why? Because there's no glue. Sex is the glue that holds that thing together. It's the overlooked thing. It's the thing that Walmart sells a chair for cheaper for because they know the glue's not necessary, okay? So, but in your marriage, sex is the glue. Unfortunately, it is the first thing to go when there's problems. When there's a lack of communication, sex goes, and guess what happens in communication? It falls apart. Okay, when there's an issue, when there's a problem, when there's something you don't like, when there's something you're upset about, sex is the first thing to go. When in truth, sex is the thing that will keep everything glued together. Some people say, well, it's not all about the sex. No, it's just primarily about the sex. Okay, it's the one thing, it's the intimate thing that keeps you bonded. It's the thing that keeps that marriage together. Here's the caveat though. Dudes, it cannot be all about you.
Yeah.
All right, it's got to be about both of you. And I'm not telling you ladies that you just got to give it up every time your husband says, hey, give it up.
Exactly.
What I'm saying is it's got to be a give and take, it's got to be equal, and it has to happen often. In fact, I'm going to issue a challenge right here. Do you know what challenge I'm going to issue?
I'm not sure.
We didn't talk about
I didn't
this.
read your mind, so.
So this is another challenge that we got from somewhere else. And if you remember who from, please say so. Okay, 7-day sex challenge. Now, the 7-day sex challenge is you have to have sex once a day for 7 days. Straight. Now, some of you are like, now the dudes are usually like, yeah, and the women are like, oh my God. Okay, no, this has got to be, the rules are fairly loose in the fact that you set your own rules.
And we'll link it down below so you can read for yourself.
The actual challenge from the people we got it from. The whole idea is to push your closeness together. Okay? Now, I'm going to get pretty graphic. Does that mean that it's got to be this big thing for both of you at the same time? Don't make me get out crayons. Okay? No. But you have to agree to that beforehand. Okay? And I'm not saying it's got to be this step-by-step walk through it, by the book. Okay, it's sex, all right? You guys managed to make it happen in the beginning. Now you're just going to make it happen for 7 days. And the whole idea is it's going to open your communication. It's going to make you feel closer. And what it does is it commits you to each other, all right? You would be surprised what the 7-day sex challenge does for you.
All right, ladies, if you're having some issues with your libido, there are things you can do, okay? So go to your natural food store, your health food store, and get yourself hooked up with some stuff, okay?
Yep. So let me throw another thing in there. Sex is actually a big issue, and we're going to roll into our third topic here in a minute. But do you want to know why your husband is looking at porn? Typically, it's because there's no sex happening in the relationship. If you think minimal to no sex is normal for a marriage, you're wrong. You're wrong. That is not the case at all. And no marriage will be good that only has that.
Well, and sometimes, you know, we've come across a lot of men that started the porn habit long before they were married, and they haven't chosen to give it up.
Yeah.
That's not what Mike's talking about. What Mike's talking about is it's new. It's something that just started.
Yeah. And you know, and we've talked about porn before, and we'll talk about it again later date. But if your husband suddenly is watching porn and he hasn't before, that's usually indicative of no
deeper issues.
Yeah, deeper issues, no sex in the marriage. Okay, now, you know, the one thing to understand is for men, it's a very emotional thing.
Yeah.
It's a very feeling thing. They don't feel sex like you feel it, so don't think that they do. All right? Ladies, the way that men show their love, the way that we show that our closeness, our love, is through the physical act of sex. Okay, so for us, it's the act itself is very intimate, whereas for you, the act is intimate in emotional ways. And so you just need to understand that about each other, and that's why the two halves are a whole.
Yeah, a very important whole.
Very important whole.
Yeah, I think we beat that horse though.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the third one, which is
date nights. Date nights. This is abused by both men and women. It's not just guys, ladies. Okay?
Yeah.
If you're just waiting around for your dude to say, hey, let's go out, you are equally to blame because you haven't suggested it. Okay?
Right. And, you know, one of the ways that we have found that works really well for us, we'll just say this now, and maybe it'll be a blessing to you, is we do a weekly date night. 1 week Mike plans, the next week I plan. And the reason is that we're both busy. Okay, and it just really helps, and then that way we don't have that deer in the headlight. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And then we don't end up doing anything, and we get in a fight because nobody can make a decision.
Yeah.
Of course, in our relationship, I'll make all the decisions if Mike doesn't, and so I really have to dial myself back. But it really works well because then we both tend to be very thoughtful of the other, I would say. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Keep in mind too that when it's your time to schedule, that means the spouse who did not schedule that night, no complaints.
Yeah, exactly.
No complaints.
And honestly,
None.
I'm always happy that I don't have to pick it that night.
Yeah. I mean, if it's one of those, I really didn't want to go here, get over yourself, go to the place you wanted to go to when it's your turn.
Now, disclaimer, Mike loves horror movies. Brenda does not. They will keep me up for the next 2 months afraid. So I don't do scary movies. He waits until I'm gone. You know, like next week I'm going to my friend's house, my best friend's house, to celebrate her birthday with her. And it will be horror week for Mike. He will watch every horror movie he can find.
Yep.
And that's okay.
Yep. So, but date nights, they're absolutely vital. And here's the other thing we didn't throw in. They need to happen every week.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't have to be these big elaborate dates. Our dates in the beginning, we know that some of you are strapped, okay? Our dates in the beginning there were times when, thank God, Walmart was open till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. It meant that we went...
Or all night.
Or we went window shopping through Walmart and got a cup of coffee. Or some date nights, we would wait for the kids to go to bed and we would stay up later watching movies and making popcorn or whatever. That was our date night. Now, could we do that any day of the week? Sure, we could. But that night...
Was sacred.
Because sometimes it's like, man, I just got to go to bed. That night, no going to bed. It was date night. And as you know, as we've gotten older, and as you know, my income's improved, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But then the date nights get better.
Yeah.
But once you do it consistently, they're not as hard to plan. You start to learn what your spouse wants to do. You start to learn places you like to go together. There are times when, for us, we like the Old Chicago where we're at, and we may go to Old Chicago on her date night, and we may go right back to Old Chicago the next date night just because that's what we want to do.
Yep.
And that's okay because we enjoy that place, and so that's what we do. So the whole point is do it. Make it a habit. Some of you are already rolling your eyes. I can feel it through the camera. Okay, don't roll your eyes. Once a week, never killed anybody. You committed to this relationship for your life. Continue the investment.
We also suggest that once a year you go away from the kids for the weekend and have a weekend date night, or a whole weekend of a date night.
Yeah.
Honestly, we understand being strapped.
Yep.
We raised 5 boys on 1 income in Montana. Whew, that was hard. Okay, just feeding those 5 boys was
difficult,
hard. Okay, but we would squirrel away $5 a week in order to once a year be able to go out and about for the weekend. You can do it. Just figure out what it's going to cost you, figure out where you want to go, and do it. As the boys got older and, like he said, his income got better, we were able to go to Hawaii for a week. We were able to go to Rome for a week. We've been a lot of really cool places, but we had to plan for them even then when he had better income. So it's really important that you put your relationship first and you put your spouse first before your kids, wives. Come on.